day 228 of the year of streaming and learning to code. We are continuing on here at Free Code Camp. What do we have? We need to make that full screen and this full screen. I believe we are all set. Let's double check. We need to we are looking for the new section that we are diving into. We need to set up chat before we dive into our next challenge. Okay, little cat, how are you doing? Good, good. Now, you know what? Are we doing... No, we're not doing show the local weather. We are going to be doing... Oh, it's so hard to tell. Build a random quote machine. At least I believe that's what we're going to be trying to tackle. Tiny cat, if you could just shimmy a little bit further. Build a random quote machine. Objective. Build a code... No. Cat, what are you doing? Look at this. Look at this. Go be a kitty somewhere else. Objective. Build a CodePen IO app that is functionally similar to this guy. Let's find out what we're up against. If a man does his best, what else is there? General George S. Patton. Tumblr, Twitter, new quote. Cat, I can see you. We can all see you. We understand you are right there. That actually doesn't change anything. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So, random quote generator. Fulfill the user stories. Whichever libraries or APIs you need, give it your own personal style. And Cat, you keep navigating directly in front of where we need to be looking. I honestly can't. No. I can't help you. There you go. That's better. User stories. I can click a button to show me a new random quote, and I can press a button to tweet out a quote. Remember to use the read search ask if you get stuck. When you are finished, click the I've completed this challenge button and include a link to your CodePen. You can get feedback on your project by sharing it with your friends on Facebook. New quote. We'll always have Paris, Casablanca. New quote. Blankety blankety blank. Not everything can be counted. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. Fair enough. I like how the text changes color with the background. Pretty cool. Do we want to tackle this project now, or do we want to see potentially what CADAs may be ahead of us in the future? It's only a 1 and 30-second video clip. Random quotes. Let's see what they have to offer. Click the button, bring up a new quote. Kinda cool. You use whichever libraries, blah blah blah. Reverse engineer the example project's functionality and also feel free to personalize it. My concern is the button to tweet it out. Let's see. As a user, click a button to show me a new random quote. Okay, we've gone over that. Now, see, that's a bonus user story. Now that's just part of it. Click here, then add your link to your tweet's text. And death. Okay. So there is that. We may potentially do the free code camp route, take on that new random quote generator, or as an alternative, we may end up taking on a new CADA. Because now that we dealt with the hardest level 7 one, oh, that mythical beast fiasco. God, that was awful. Let's sort by most completed. Level 6, kind of slow to load there. Level 6, and then fundamentals. I can't tell if it's factoring in total completed and fundamentals. There's a lack of level 6 Caillou. That's what we're looking for. Find the odd integer. Well, I guess we could do that one. Let's gander at this guy. A lot of issues. 3 issues, 17 issues, 28 issues. But so many people have completed it. And it's pretty high rating overall. Let's see what we're up against if we were to go down this route. Given an array, find the integer that appears an odd number of times. There will always be only one integer that appears an odd number of times. What to do? Random quote machine or dealing with an odd number. It would be, how many times does it appear? I'm trying to think what methods I would use. I think I actually want to do this CADA instead. I think I'd rather save the random quote machine for tomorrow. Yeah. We'll do that. We were thinking of doing the quote machine tonight, but we're going to save that for tomorrow. And then that means we can do this now. Alright, let's close out of those. Close and close. Let's go ahead and dive into train. There's that. And now... What's happening? Why is my phone blowing up? Hold on, we've got phone issues. Some good times. Okay. Back into what we're up against. Hey, Tegan. How are you? Hopefully your evening/day is going well. We have just dove into find the odd integer. Once more from the top, given an array, find the integer that appears an odd number of times. We've got our integer. One of these, and only one of these, will appear an odd number of times. There will always be only one integer that appears an odd number of times. I think we're going to want to... I don't know why, but I feel like we want to break it in... Do we want to split the array? No, we don't want to split the array. You know what we probably want to do? We probably want to filter. I bet we want to filter it. And then probably do like a length count for whatever we filter. I'm sure it's way more straightforward than we're making it out to be. Tegan, how are you enjoying your journey of learning to code? It's been going quite well. It's been an interesting journey over the last 228 days, but overall, it's pretty damn good. Not gonna lie, we've gone through all the free stuff that Code Academy had to offer. So we learned like 14, 15, maybe 16 different languages via Code Academy. So that took up the first like 150 days. A lot of the just basic fundamentals, scratching the surface for all kinds of different things, jQuery and Angular and PHP and whatnot, Sass, and then we made our way to CODEWARS, which is where we're at currently. We just made it to level 6 out of the 8 they have, at least on the first scale, because technically there's the 2 scales, 8 to 1 and then 1 to 4, but either way. And then we're chipping away slowly at Free Code Camp, which has been all kinds of fun as well. We've completed 255 items so far out of their journey. And where's their map? We are looking for, yeah, this guy. All that fun. The JSON APIs and Ajax and basic algorithm and object-oriented stuff. And yeah, it's been good. There's been a lot of redundancy going from tutorial site to tutorial site, but I think it's also highlighted which aspects are essentially the most important or most common to learn. So it's been good, mostly. Tons of fun. Tegan, how much knowledge did you have before you started? Essentially 0. If this were a Super Mario game, most Super Mario games have 8 worlds and 8 levels within each world. My knowledge comprised of, like, probably percentage-wise the first 3 to 4 levels of World 1 out of 8. Yeah, so not a lot. I had done a couple years ago, I had gone through the intro HTML and CSS course at Code Academy, and the first couple lessons of the intro to JavaScript, but I never completed the JavaScript course at Code Academy a couple years ago. And then in past work experience, I dabbled lightly with some SQL, but aside from that, very, very minimal. It's been a much deeper dive, even though I've only gone over really the basics, kind of surface level fundamentals of a couple different languages. It's been a much deeper dive over the last 220 plus days, getting familiar with coding. So yeah, it's been good. What are we looking at? Right. We are up against looking at all of this. We are trying to figure out in the arrays how many bits and pieces we have of each. Now, like this is a good example. All the ones, a single 10, and all the ones. So there's an even number of ones, and there's an odd number of 10s. Even though there's only one, 10 is the right answer for what we're looking for. So what do we have going on for us? Tegan, that's awesome. I'm at the start of my journey, and that story's inspiring. That's cool. That's tons of fun. Yeah, the start of the journey is way cool. As far as all the progress that I've made, all of my learning has been on stream. I haven't done any learning off stream, and I've only ever streamed, 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours. Sometimes I'll get the stray 3.5 hour stream. A lot of days are usually like an hour and a half long stream or 45 minutes. But anyways, 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours a day is all I've really been doing. I haven't had any like 8 or 14 hour code binges. As far as like trying to make tons of progress. So it's all been small chunks, and I've hit the reset button, so to speak, a bunch of times. Like Code Academy, learning the basics of JavaScript, they go through JavaScript, the basics, like 3 or 4 times at Code Academy. And then I went over the basics again of JavaScript at Free Code Camp. So there's been a lot of redundancy in my journey. If any other person were to do this, they'd probably spend more than just 30 minutes a day learning to code, and they would probably not be hitting the reset button, refreshing, so to speak, learning the same fundamentals over and over from different sites. So wherever you end up 200 plus days from now will be substantially further, more than likely, where I currently am. It's just a weird setup that I've got going on. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day. I'm on this infinite loop of learning the essentials over and over because I keep going from site to site as I progress through them. But yeah. Tegan, nah, I learned it a similar way. I have to redo the basics so I make sure I understand it more. And that's totally cool. Again, that's how I'm going through it. I don't mind because it's just a better understanding of the fundamentals, and a stronger foundation is never a bad thing when you're trying to learn and master something. So I think it's been awesome seeing the basics from different perspectives from different tutorial sites. So I think it's been a benefit to me more than anything detrimental. So that's why I don't mind. But yeah, some people, the repeat content drives them crazy. What are we looking for? Good times. We're probably filtering out. We were gonna go through. We can open Free Code Camp, reference some of our tools, and see what we have going on. Let's do this. Map stuff. All right, we had object-oriented stuff. Dot filter. We're going to have to break this up in a couple ways. Dot filter and dot split. I think is what we'll want. Dot filter is our first method that I think we can best utilize. 15. You can, don't mind me. Also check text crisis on my phone. Okay, awesome, awesome. Good times, good times. Now, what are we doing? Filter. We've used filter many a times, but just as a refresher, filter method is used to iterate through an array and filter out elements where a given condition is not true. Filter is passed a callback function, which takes the current value that we've called value, okay, an array element for which the callback returns death, kept elements false. We'll encode an example to remove. Maybe we don't want to remove anything. Damn. Little kitty, what do you think we should do? In human terms, given an array, find the integer that appears an odd number of times. That will always only ever be 1. Little kitty, would you use the filter method? Yeah, I don't think we're going to use the filter method either. It seemed like a good idea at the start, but now I'm questioning it. Splitting stuff, though, you can split the method to split into an array. Already is an array. Split using the argument you passed in as a delimiter to determine which points the string should be split at. No, we already have that. It's bringing in all of that noise. We want to... There will be a for loop, and it's going to be going through each element. But what are we going to be doing with that for loop? Well, let's first set up our for loop. For variable I equals 0, I is greater than, no, I is less than. Less than or equal to? Yeah, we'll just do less than. A dot length I plus plus. Now with that said, we should be doing something. We are iterating through each of these. There's 1, 1. That gets pushed somewhere. There's 1, 1. And it's counting that. 1, 1. There's a single 2. There's a negative 2. There's a 5. Another 2. 4 and a 4. Negative 1. 2 and a 5. Trying to wrap my head around this. Find odd, A and N. They're giving us A. I don't think we need to worry about that. I think we're just returning. Find the integer that appears the odd number of times. If, pretty sure there's an if going on. If A dot length. No, it's not if a dot length. Is there a count feature? Is there a count method? I don't think there's a count method. If a dot count if a something or other is equivalent to, it's a something. If a something is equivalent to a modulo 0? No, a modulo 2 equals I know that's for counting by twos. God, I'm totally drawing a blank on how to gauge counting by 0 or odds and evens. We should definitely remember how to do that. And we don't, but we haven't had to do that in a while. Let's see. Let's do JavaScript. Odd number. It's a refresher. Right here. Number modulo 2. If it can be divided by 2. 1 is odd. 2, 3, 4. Use the code below. 1 represents an odd number, while 0 represents an even. Note that 0 or 1, yeah, non-75, blankety, 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 blank. Value equals 0. So I want it to equal a 1, right? Is even, yeah. So we don't want it. Close. Am I able to do that? I think I am. If a blankety blankety blank return, let's do return a. What do we get here when we run that? We get 11 versus when we do this and we run it. And no, it's still 11. Bad times. Let's do copy, comment that out, run it. Wow. Well, we got a whole lot of something. It's definitely doing something. Let's do does not equal 0. Yeah, that didn't help anybody. Run. Super death. Damn. How do we determine blankety blank? Let's do... We're still missing something. I know I'm missing something. JavaScript. JavaScript what? Odd numbers. MDN. That's right. Parse int. And is there a JS count method? Yeah, let's check that out too. Array property. Maybe we can do index of or property of, and we can count how many of that item is in there. That might be a better fit for what we're looking for. Length of property, so that's the number of items. Something about twos. Length. Some other stuff. JavaScript array length. Yeah, 4. Tons of fun. Epsilon, max safe, max value, minimum safe, negative infinity, positive infinity. There's floats. I know. We are like looking at it. The parse int function parses a string argument and returns an integer of the specified radix, the base in mathematics. No, we aren't looking for that. That was, we need to be using that for like, didn't we use it for binary? Yeah, we used that for the binary one, which was a freaking nightmare. Let's close some of this noise. Right here. Challenge name. Even. Number targeting even numbered elements. Yeah, let's do that. What did we do to target even number? Oh, boo, that's not cool. That's just jQuery nonsense. You're looking for something helpful. basic JavaScript. Incrementing, dividing, We're totally drawing a blank on all this stuff. Of course we are. That's what we get for doing this after midnight like normal. Modify. Global versus local. Conditional. Aha, comparisons. Equality, strict equality, inequality, greater than, less than, else if, replacing, adding new stuff, deleting objects, iterate odd numbers. Yeah. This. Let's look at this guy. Here we go. So that's skipping, though. See, that's counting through odd numbers. We're trying to determine if a number is even or odd. Not exactly the same issue. If I... What we do, if 5, as we go through the loop with our for loop, one number at a time, if A, in this case, which is 5, returns an odd number of times, return it. If A appears an odd number of times, there's the index itself. Because I'm trying to think of how I would quantify that, because this is more of a vocab issue than anything, at least in my mind for now. This as a whole is an array. Each number is an index within the array. We are looking for that specific integer to occur either at least once or more than once, an odd number of times in the array. And to count or verify that, we should be looking for, we're going through one by one, and if that thing index, it's AI, that's what we want. If AI is divisible or modulo 2, 3 divided by 2, would it just be greater than 0? Because 4 divided by 2 modulo equals, like, yes, so pretend this is a 4. Modulo 2, if it were an even number, it would be 0. Even if it were 50 divided by 2, it could return 25, but there's 0 remainder. So what we want is if whatever that component is divided by 2, if it doesn't equal 0, we want to return it or push that to something. But that's checking the actual, see, that's looking for like the value of the number. We're not actually looking for the value of the number. That's the thing. See, like if we push in 20, it's going to go as 20. Then we're checking each item if it's an odd or even number. We don't want that. We want to count all of them. And that's what's escaping me right now, is capturing all the 20s. How would I go? I want to capture all the 20s and put it somewhere and count the length. Then I want to capture all the next number set. That's why I feel like it's filter. You know what? What's the other one? There was filter. It was like split and splice. Maybe that's what I want. Maybe it's not that at all. Split. Open link in new tab. Filter. Reduce. Yeah, good. So splitting. You can split a string into an array. We really don't need to worry about that. We already have an array. Here's an example of split being used on the S character, blah, 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 blah. I don't think split is going to solve our problems. So filter. Once more, let's look at filter. I think we're probably going to be moving more in the splice direction. The filter method is used to iterate through an array and filter out elements where a given condition is true. Filter is passed a callback function, which takes the current value that we've called value as an argument. Any array element for which the callback returns true will be kept as an element that return false, and elements that return false will be filtered out. Anything true is kept, anything that isn't. So values less than 6 would be 1 through 5. 6 and up die. Following code example is for filtering elements equal to 5. Note we omit the second and third arguments. We only need the things that don't equal 5. Sure. Use the filter to create a new array. Use filter to create a new array with all the values from the old array, which are less than 6. So that's the thing. It creates a new thing. So we're given A. We could create B. And only if I is I feel like it's Splice too. Or that we are working closer to Splice because... Oh, no, this might be good too. Previous and value. I was going to say we need a method that takes 2 parameters that compares it. Kind of like the sorting A minus B, or, you know, B minus A or whatever, and compare the two. If one is the same as the other, we need to take that and do something with it. Let's see what we have going on here. Maybe reduce is what we're actually looking for, not splice. The array method reduce is used to iterate through an array and condense it into one value. To use reduce, you pass in callbacks whose arguments are an accumulator, in this case, previous value, and the current value, current val. The accumulator is like a total that reduce keeps track of after each operation. The current value is just the next element in the array that you're iterating through. Reduce has an optional second argument that can be used to set the initial value of the accumulator. If no value is specified, it will be the first array element, and the current value will start with the second array. Fair enough. So this 0 bit is optional. Here is an example of reduce being used to subtract all the values of an array. Variable single value, array.reduce, function previous and current, return the previous value if it's less than the current. Use the reduce method to sum all the values in the array and assign it to single value. So what's actually happening? We have array 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Single value equals 0 for now. Single array, array.reduce function previous and current. We're going to take the previous value. The first one would be, actually I guess that doesn't have anything. Current value? What does it say it starts with? To use reduce, callback, previous, and the current. Reduce has an optional second, which can be used to set the initial value if no initial value is specified. It will be the first array value element, and current will be the second. Yeah, okay. So this would be 4, and that would be 5, since no secondary optional value is being set up. So that would be 4 plus 5, and that would be the total. Then it would do 5 plus 6, 6 plus 5. No, it'd do the total plus 6. Yeah, and you know what? I actually think it's taking the 0 plus 4, and then it goes 4 plus 5, and that would be 9 plus 6, and then 15 plus 7, and then 22 plus 8, and then 30. Is that right? Run test. Hey, I was right. I was right. Most triumphant. It is in fact 30. So it does shuffle through like that. Okay. So the counting is cool, but I don't necessarily want it to count it like that. I want it to store it like that. I guess what can I do? Maybe we could do push a dot push and set up a function where it just compares the previous and the current, and if they're equivalent, it adds both. That sounds kind of dumb, doesn't it? Yeah, it sounds dumb. Damn. Push I. I mean, I can see it in my mind. That almost makes sense. It seems ugly. It seems ugly. Let's do mdn splice. Super death. You know what? And I bet you a regular expression would solve this. I don't know why or how, but I get the feeling it would. Array slice. That's what we want. Not string slicing, but array splicing. Oh, it was splice and slice. Fuckers. Death. The splice method changes the contents of an array by removing existing elements or adding new elements. We've got angel and clown and mandarin and sturgeon. My fish splice 20 drum. Splice to 1, remove 1 item at index 2. Yeah, I remember all of that. I guess remove I don't even know, but what does it return? Doesn't it return what it eliminated? See, removed blank 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 my fish, apple, clown, mandarin, sturgeon. And variable removed is myfish.splice 20 and drum. So it's not removing anything, but at the second position, it's putting drum in. See, we've got 0, 1, and 2, but it also returns what's removed, and what's removed is nothing because it doesn't say to delete anything. I think here is closer to what we're looking for, because if we do it in tandem with a for loop, then I think we can put in 20 or AI. Variable blah 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 dot length AI is something or other for whatever equals how many. Yeah, like this has how many ones are there? 1, 2. Okay, just the 2. And then how many 2s are there? 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 1s, 2 2s at 0, 1, 2, and I don't know, like 5 or 6. So what will be happening there? If we put that in, we've got all of our numbers. A.splice, and we do AI. It will go through the for loop. That seems really messy. Let's look at slice really quick. MDN slice. Actually, I think they had it right here. Splice and slice. Wonder what sum does. Slice. See, splice, it's about what's removed for what it returns. But slice operates slightly different. Variable A 0 1 2 3. Slice 1 0 or 1 to 3. It doesn't include 3. It stops before that. So it starts at 1. It goes to 2. Stops right at 3 just before. That's what that is. And then what it's sliced is this. Sliced is a method that returns a shallow copy of a portion of an array into a new array object selected from beginning to end and not included. The original array will not be modified. And I'm trying to think if that's better or worse. You know what? The other thing, watch this. Maybe we can just do FindIndex and count how many index or entries there are. Or copy within. Look at, there's all these cool ones. Hold on, we're going to be able to figure this out. Okay. FindIndex returns the index of the first element in an array that satisfies that. Oh, that's only going to be one thing. Yeah, not cool. Not cool. Okay. Whatever. Close that. F that noise. Entries. Entries method returns a new array iterator object that contains the key value pairs for each index in the array. Using a for of loop. Fascinating. A, B, and C iterator A entries. A is 1, B is 2, 2 is C. A new array iterator object, entries. Let E of iterator, console log E. I'm not sure what that does. I feel like that could be helpful, but I'm just not 100% sure how to implement that just yet. Every. The every method tests whether all elements in the array pass the test implemented by the provided function. Greater than 10. 12, 5, 8, 30, 44 is big enough, false. 12, 54, 18, 130, 44, everything is true. Could be handy, I just don't think that's what we need right now for our given situation. Copy within. Copy within. The copy within method shallow copies part of an array to another location in the same array and returns it without modifying its size. This might be exactly what we needed. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. Copy within to 0 results. Alpha, Bravo, Alpha, Bravo. I don't know how I feel about that. Parameters. Zero-base index at which no copy the sequence 2. If negative, target will be counted from the end. If target is at or greater than array length, nothing will be copied. Blankety blank, start and end. So it makes copies. Is there an opposite of copy within? Maybe there is. What about this last one? Some method tests whether at least one element in the array passes the test. And we're just gonna have to Google the crap out of it. That's our issue. Given an array, find the integer that appears an odd number of times. Diddy 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 diddy. Diddy 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 diddy. Okay. Let's see what we're up against, shall we? We're nearing, we just need a hint of sorts. Find the number occurring odd number of times given in an array of positive integers. All numbers occur even number of times except one number, which occurs an odd number of times. Find the odd number in O(n) time and constant space. Maybe constant is what we need to do. Recommend please solve it on practice first before moving on to the solution. Simple solution is to run 2 nested loops. The outer loop picks all elements one by one, and the inner loop counts the number of occurrences. The element, okay, the time complexity of solution is ln squared. A better solution is to use hashing. Use array elements as keys and their counts as values. Create an empty hash table. One by one, traverse the given array element and store the counts, but it requires extra space for hashing. The best solution is to do bitwise XOR of all the elements. XOR of all the elements gives us odd occurring elements. Please note that XOR of 2 elements is 0 if both elements are the same. XOR of number X is 0 with, okay, that kind of made things worse. So, C in general, I, 0, we've got our for loop. Res. Oh, Java, is that easier to read? Python? Traversing. Res equals res array. Super death. Let's close out of that. I'm sure it was helpful. It just didn't really. Nothing clicked. Trying to solve this exercise, finding a number that appears an odd number of times in an array. I have this so far, but the output ends up being an integer that appears an even number of times. For example, the number 2 appears 3 times, and the number 4 appears 6 times, but the output is 4 because it counts it as appearing 5 times. How can it be that it returns the first set that it finds odd? Any help is appreciated. Got an array. We're counting from 0. Element is 0. I, array length. Fair enough. Temp integer. Array I. Temp count is 0. So they are doing the second for loop. That's exactly what they were talking about beforehand. So variable j, 0, array length, j, and blah, 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 plus, plus. If temp count divided, hey, doesn't equal 0. Oh, and temp count is greater than count equals blankety blank. Return element. Seems fairly straightforward. I don't know why that wouldn't be, right? I mean, out of the gates, but let's find out why right here. This is because of your condition. If temp count modulo 2 doesn't equal 0, so it can't be an odd number, and temp count is greater than count is true, when the 5th 4 is checked, this updates count and elements variables. When the 6th 4 is checked, the condition is false. To fix, move the condition outside the innermost loop so that it's checked only after all numbers in the array are counted. Clever solution. So what else are we looking for? So here, function array. First, let's count the occurrences of all the elements in the array. Hash for plus plus, if else, result, another for loop, more ifing. Yeah, no, none of these have a lot of votes to them, which makes me kind of concerned. Not that I'm against the blind leading the blind, but usually there's some semblance of this success when they're onto something good. Questions find an integer that appears an odd number of times in an array. Example, blankety 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 blank should return 10, blankety blankety blank should return 1. My code passes all tests, but these two. I have no idea why. Can anyone explain? Finding the odd A variable key counts, so they've got an empty array ready and waiting to receive. Top key, a for each loop. That's not a for each. Well, I mean, it is a method, so it does loop through all kinds of stuff, but for each. Let's read up on for each, shall we? For each. For each method executes a provided function once for each array element. So, what the hell does it do? I mean, that's it. That's all of it in its full glory. For each executes provided callback once for each element in the array in ascending order. It's not invoked for index properties that have been deleted or are uninitialized. This arg for each range. Okay, so we've got the general idea of what the hell it is, but item 1, 2, 3, 0 less than push items to copy after I still don't see the difference. I figured it would have taken all of these and pushed them to copy, but I guess not. 1, 2, 3 copies empty. That's before. Afterwards, oh, it's this items for each function item, copy push item. Death. Let's go back to the example. We were looking at this. So a for each item and value, key counts item plus 1 or 1. If key counts item modulo 2 is 0, top key equals item. Return top key. So it is... It's interesting. So for each, it is going through each one, but because it takes 2 parameters and it's going through each item, the way they've got it set up here with the or in the if, it's basically doing both for loops simultaneously at once with the for each, via for each. At least that's my current understanding. Let's find out. Your code fails. So why is this not a great idea? Your code fails because you check for the odd count while you're iterating over the array. So every time it finds any new number, it'll overwrite top key. To solve, count the numbers first, then iterate over the key counts objects to find out which one was odd. Find odd A, let counts a dot reduce p and n lambda pn plus plus pn or 1 and p return object key counts, find k counts modulo 2 or undefined. You're assigning to top key too soon as the value. May occur one more time. Here's a solution which adds/removes a value from a set at every occurrence, like a toggle, and then takes the first value from the remaining set. Array for v, array reduce, set v. See, everyone's using all the cool multi-parameter type methods, whether it's reduce or what was the other one? For each. that takes 2. There's all kinds of fun stuff. Let's see what was happening here. Given an array, find the odd. Yes, good time. So, odd number of 1s, no other number. 2, even number of 1s, no odd numbers. So those are different test cases, examples. A. Length is the length of A. And then A sort is A slice dot sort. So it's slicing the array and then sorting them. And then they also set up variable count. So far I like this one because they're breaking everything down in human terms and conditions. A dot sort, which is all of this, A slice dot sort, so A sort for each, so then they're running for each on this beast. Function I, so count I, ta-da, count I equals count I or 0, and then plus 1. Note on the above code creates the associative array object count that will have a key value pair for each unique element. In the array, where the key is the unique element value and the value is the count, then iterating over the array, and for each value either increments the value or creates the key value pair. The value of the non-existent key value evaluates to undefined, so the OR operator takes a 0 instead and adds the 1. Very cool. From here, for variable key in count, if count has own property, that was another method I was thinking we should be checking. If count has own property key, variable value, count key, if count key modulo 2 doesn't equal 0, return number. I realize this is kind of lengthy, but I do like this one because it clearly indicates what the hell is happening at each step. It's easily explainable. It's not some of the weirdness that we saw beforehand. There was we already closed it out of the other one. There was a lot of black magic happening, and it was just noise. Although reduce is good. No, let's stick with this is more of our speed. We know this is more of our speed. There's obviously better, more concise ways of writing it, but this is more up our alley. So from here, let's go ahead and close out a lot of this noise. The last thing I want to look at is double checking reduce once more. So, what would we be doing if we had reduce? Because out of all the methods that had sort of multiple arrays, or multiple parameters to check off each other, like reduce or for each or the sort function, or not sort function, sort method. Was it sort that lets you do A and B, A minus B? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was sort. Anywho, from the top, The array method reduce is used to iterate through an array and condense it into one value. To reduce your pass callback, the accumulator is like we can. That is an option. We're gonna pass. We're gonna stick with what we have here. Everything will be fine. Okay, so we've got this. Let's go ahead and set up. Do we actually need a dot length? So that's what I'm curious about. We have function find odd a. Variable length is a dot length. We have variable a sort. I get that holds the value of all of this noise, and then we can do other stuff on top of that, like dot for each. That's totally cool. And then we have count. So for each function I, count I equals count I or 0 plus 1. And they went through all their reasons why, and that's cool. That checks out. But from there, we've got for variable key in count. If count has own property key, variable value count key, if count key modulo 2 return number key. And that's the thing, this never gets referenced, length. There's no need for length, that's just a thing. All he's using is sort and count. So there's no need for that guy. And let's set up our own beast. We've got our own noise. Variable a sort equals a dot slice. Was it slice? No, it wasn't slice. It was, yeah, it was slice and sort. Slice parentheses dot sort. And then there was also variable count equals so forth and such. We've got a sort for each function I and count I. A sort for hours dot for each function I that gets this count I equals parentheses count I or, and it was 0 then plus 1, but more importantly, yes, semicolon there at the end. Good, good. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. Alright, and now we are getting to our for loop once more. Note on the above code creates the associative array object count. That will have a key value pair for each unique element in the array, where the key is the unique element value and the value is the count, then iterating over the array, and for each value either increments the value or creates the key value pair. The value of the non-existent key evaluates to undefined, so the OR operator takes a 0 instead and adds the 1. That's what's going down here. For variable key in count, so we can get rid of our scary for loop and just replace it with that. For variable key in count, because this is a whole object in and of itself. So we'll clear out that for key in count. For key in count, if count has own property key, if and then return. If count has own property key, return to double if, my bad. I jumped all the way to the return. There's still this if count key. So for variable key in count, if count has own property key, then also variable value equals count key. The variable value equals the count key. So in the object that's being created, that's what's going down. If count has own property key, if count key modulo 2, that's right, we were supposed to keep it. We were supposed to keep that iffy stuff. Let's copy this. There we go. Uh-oh. Oh god, getting sneezy. Dear God. If tab ta-da, be-dee-dee-dee-dee. There we go. And then returns. But it's not A, it is count key modulo 2 does not equal 0. Nice. Return number key. All right. Return key. Now my concern is this, if this all blows up in our face, mainly because of number. Really not sure how that's going to come into play here. Where the deuce did they even get number from? Find odd, length, count, sort. Note if count has property, variable value, count key, if count key, return number key. It's just weird. My other concern is that this isn't going to work for us. That'd be really sucky. Revisions. Quite a few revisions. Let's give it a shot. The number thing is throwing me off. Don't mind me. Let's try that on for size. Copy. This and that, followed by these. And there's pasting. Whoa. What changed? Something changed. There's a difference. What is the difference? Run it. Yeah, see, okay, so I knew it wasn't that. You know what? I bet you it had to do with... What did it have to do with? Sort. Count. We had sort and slice. We had count. A sort for each function I. Count I or 0 plus 1. And then from there, it's the for loop it's touching, so let's get rid of that. For variable key in count, if count has own property key, if count key modulo 2 does not equal 0, oh, look at that. I was missing that. That's what it was. Because there needed to be 4 after return. Return number key 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Run it. Let's get rid of this. 1 and 2. Well, super death. Oh, it's this. It was sort. It was sort. My bad. Big dumb idiot. But that's okay. We're getting there. A sort blankety blankety blank I. That's the opening and closing for the function. That's the opening and closing for that function. We have our for loop, which opens and closes. We have our if loop, which opens and closes, and we have our other if loop that opens and closes. What else could be missing? What? It's not length. It's not this. It's not that. Oh, it's the brackets that I have brackets instead of parentheses. See. Look at that. Look at that. Get rid of this guy. Close out of that noise. There we go. And ta-da! Be-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Good times. So, when all said and done, we have our function find odd A. We are sorting that via taking A, the entire array, we're slicing it up, and then we're sorting it. From there, we are setting up a new object, count, ready and waiting to receive, using a sort. We also add on the dot for each method, using I, count I, for each piece as it loops through. It's either count I or 0. We're also adding on +1. That builds out our count object. From there, we've got our for loop and the variable key in count, and we have two if statements. If count dot has own property in the key, if the key is there in the count object. And then from there, if the count key is odd, not equal to 0, modulo 2 does not equal 0, then return that number or that key, and then we're golden. Run sample once more just for good measure. Green across the board. Let's submit our attempt. Checking, checking, checking. Wow, it's checking a lot of them. Ta-da! There we go. Nice. Way cool. Submit final. Let's see what the cool kids had to say, and then we can power this down. Loading, loading, loading. B-da-dee-dee-da-dee-da-dee. It's really loading slowly. It is really thinking about it. There we go. Okay, so the cool kids had to see. Wow, it's so much more concise. Holy hell. Constant find odd xs lambda xs dot reduce ab lambda a b. Holy hell. I don't even know what to do with that. I mean, I can see each piece. Like, conceptually, I can acknowledge and see what they're doing, but that wouldn't have been my first guess in a million years. That wouldn't have been my millionth guess in a million years. At least currently. Hopefully we can get to that point, but at least this we can visualize. Even though this isn't exactly what we put, this is a whole hell of a lot closer. Actually, this is very similar to what we did. Function find odd variable object. You know what? And that's the other thing. I don't know if we actually needed to do all the slice and sort and all that noise. I think we could have just set up our object. A for each, function L, object L, if object L plus plus or object L equals 1. For prop in object, if object prop modulo 2 does not equal 0, return number prop. Alright, so we came in second. Not bad. Find A, reduce A, function CV, return CV0. We should have used reduce. Damn. Damn. Next time. Function array result, blank array sort, for loop. Array I equals array I plus 1, num, else, all that noise. Good times. Alright, well, we came in second with the solution we found. I can live with that. Not gonna lie, I can live with that. Let's go ahead and go to our profile. Let's see where we currently stand. 8% of the way. Level 6 here at CODEWARS. 65,385. Slowly crawling up the leaderboard as we inch our way through each CADA. I think that's about it for today. Let's go ahead and close out of all this noise. Thank you again to anyone and everyone who stopped by to view the stream. Today we had Tegan, and even if you accidentally stumbled in here to view the stream, any and all views are greatly appreciated. In the meantime, the adventure continues tomorrow with day 229. But for now, we are stopping the stream. Are you sure you want to stop the stream? Hell yeah. Kill it!